still to find somebody in LA. That's
Boom!
boom.
Oh my goodness. Here we are.
Hey.
Welcome to the boss room. All right, there's no Cliff. If everyone is here looking...
He's
well,
right
okay. In spirit. Here, let's...
There you get the glare off.
there we go. Looking at us like a hawk, just staring, making sure everything's going well. Funny story, I tried to see if he could call in.
All right.
Like call in and then, we would hold up the phone to the mic and have him talk to you guys. But unfortunately, it's shoddy reception, so maybe next time. But he'll be on the next show. For now, we've got Josh, who was on last week.
What's up, guys?
Arjan, who...
Been on before
and has some interesting things to say. So welcome. We're happy to have you guys, and we'll just jump right into it. So a lot's kind of happened. We had a big milestone in the past couple of weeks, and I thought it would be really interesting to let everybody know what exactly a milestone is, right? Because it's terminology that is game developer terminology that I didn't know about when I came here, and I thought it was really interesting. So you guys probably have some great insight on that. So what is a milestone in terms of game development?
Yeah, I think it's a really valid question and obviously a big thing for game developers. I think it's a check-in moment, right? You kind of determine how often these things occur. For us, they are occurring every 6 weeks approximately. And what we want to do is we want to deliver some new version of the game or new state of the game at the end of the milestone. So what we just had in terms of milestone was we call that minimum playable. So it's basically a fun, great prototype, right? Which sounds very, very exciting, and we'd love to share it with you. So obviously we want to figure that out, right? And we're having deep discussions with everybody to figure out, okay, how can we actually get this in front of people? Because we have a game now, right? We can play it, right? It's fun, right? It doesn't look like a polished game yet, but that's part of the thing we want to explore. Like, okay, how can we get this fun game that we're all having a lot of fun with, and worked really hard to deliver to that state, how we can get it into people's hands or show it and whatever. But
I think when you think about milestone from a game developer sense, it's really like a gut check for the team, to kind of see like where, can you, the vision that you kind of have in your head, can you realize it with the sticks or with the keyboard or whatever, like does it come to life? And that's a really, it's a gut check moment, so, we started, 6 months ago or so, assuming that, we were going to make this really fun game. It's going to be cool. And this milestone came up, and it kind of is scary because you're like, all that stuff I've been saying about it being awesome, like now is the time for it to show some of that awesomeness. And, fortunately for us, it showed a lot. It definitely was an awesome milestone for us.
Yeah, I think it's really important that everyone understands, and we're trying to be as transparent as possible, right? So I want everybody to know what the milestone is, and at some point we're going to let you guys know, we're on milestone 7, 8, 9, all that kind of stuff, because those are really big moments for us along the way. And a little bit later we'll have a video kind of showing what we did to celebrate our milestone progress. It involved beer and pizza and Street Fighter, so you guys will see that in a little bit.
One thing with open development too, I would say that these milestones are eventually going to become not just big moments for us, but they're going to become big moments for us, like the entire community and fan base. So these are things that you guys are going to be on the inside of. You're going to help us get to the next level of these stuff. So it's going to be soon, hopefully, it'll be a community, milestone. The community has reached a point with the game, and I think that's very inspiring from a developer perspective.
Yeah, and I think normally in game development, right, old school game development, there was only one big milestone really visible to consumers, because that's the release, or you sometimes hear like, we reached Gold Master, right? Mm-hmm. And Gold Master basically means it's the discs will be printed and all that kind of stuff. But we will have many of these milestones, and we want to kind of get into a rhythm at some point to kind of keep delivering this to people, right? Okay, you see version 0.3 of the game, right? So, okay, how does that play? And then we get your feedback, and we get a new version in maybe 4 or 6 weeks later. That kind of addresses that kind of feedback. So we kind of use players give feedback on the game and make the game better, right? I think that's super huge and important nowadays. So
yeah, so until we get to that point, which is going to be sooner rather than later, we want to continue to show you guys concept art, get you guys in the know on all that kind of stuff, and we're really ramping up for something awesome. So thanks for being on the sidelines.
Yeah,
so
just stick with us a little while longer.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna start seeing some really awesome stuff. Just ride it out. I know you guys want to see some stuff moving around and shooting. Just wait, it's coming. Don't worry, it's coming.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, why does everyone dress so well? And they're like, is everyone taking lessons from Trammell?
It kind of is. I mean, Trammell kind of brought this actually to the studio, his Tie-Dye Friday that he was doing at his previous job, and he's bringing it here. And I tend to like to dress nice, and he's a tough he's a tough competition, so I have to really dig deep in the wardrobe to kind of come in on every Friday with something nice. So yeah, we are a well-dressed and stylish studio.
Yeah, and I'm just not a tie guy. I don't do ties, so I do jackets. So
Yeah, and Trammell's going to be on the second half of the show, and he has got one slick gold tie today that he is just
notice the gold watch that goes along.
Oh my
with the
God.
Oh man,
the watch
nice.
I peeped that.
I know. When I say that I'm going to Little Caesars for dinner, and he's like straightening his tie, he's got his nice watch. I'm like, man, I want to be you someday.
Yep,
man, I want to be where you are, so I can get that watch.
When I grow up.
So yeah, they'll be on a little bit to talk about the art that we're going to debut. So moving on, it's kind of been a slow news week. Really hasn't been a lot going on in terms of games. However, a couple people on Twitter mentioned the Microsoft HoloLens and wanted to get our impressions on that. I think that's interesting. So, what are your guys' thoughts on it from the development side?
When I was looking at it, I see it as it's AR and VR kind of coming in together, and I think AR is very cool. I think it's that step towards the holodeck type stuff, Star Trek, and I think that's really cool. I think it's very interesting from a perspective of, it definitely has game implications, but I think it has more about just like process and work implications, like how you tangibly deal with if I'm modeling something, or if I'm dealing with there's one shot of somebody working on a motorcycle, and the aspect to be able to get the feel of it in 3D, I think would be really interesting and fun. But still keep you tied into the world that you're in. You're not in these VR goggles and you can't see anybody, but your kids can walk by and you can speak to them, and you can still be a part of what's going on around you, but you can also have this extra world that you're interacting with, and I think that's interesting.
Yeah, and I think that's huge, right? I think the whole social aspect of you're sitting together, right? That's cool. You want to have that interaction with folks, right? If you're playing with your friends on the couch, right? You want to see your friends, not everybody with kind of big goggles on and kind of completely sidetracked. But I think the thing that Microsoft seems to be able to do now is they kind of combine an inverse version of Kinect with that glasses. So basically, we can look at each other, right? But everything 3 feet out, a meter out, right? It will be virtual, right? So we're sitting here at our little bar, but then on Mars or in a game world or whatever, right? And that kind of stuff becomes really, really powerful, right? If Minecraft is going to be happening on this desk only, but how does it work? Because there's nothing, I don't know how that's going to work, but there's a lot of kind of you basically solve the screens, right? Everything can be a screen, right? So you don't have to have your little phone anymore, or your plasma TV, but you can basically say IMAX, and half of the room is IMAX, but I can still look at you, right? And where I watch sports and I'm in a stadium, right? That's virtual, but I can still see you, right? You can still have a beer, right? I can still see the fridge, that kind of stuff. So
Okay, well, so last time I saw something like that video that they showed. It's kind of like a sizzle reel. It was for the Kinect, right? And you had the kid who scanned in his skateboard, and you saw all of these great things, but it was kind of smoke and mirrors to what the actual final product would be. Do you think that that's wise for them to show it in that light that may be a little deceptive, or what?
Yeah, so I think a problem with this is, I've been thinking about it, because everybody sees those trailers, but how does it really look, right? It's really hard to demo without seeing it yourself. So that's a problem. But I think the other thing is that people are now trying with VR and AR to figure out where they can take it, right? And there's a lot of experimentation, and we don't know yet, right? I think the glasses are still clunky, right? They will become smaller, just as everything becomes smaller. So at some point, it might be inside contact lenses or whatever, right? You'll get completely out of your face. But that's the thing we need to explore, right? And I think what's cool, because we know a lot of people in the game industry that are actually prototyping with these things, right? And you see some really really cool things happening. So yeah, I think we're just at the beginning of a road that will take us, if it continues, right, it can take us for the next decades, right, until it's kind of crystallized. So
one thing I will say though is that it seems like Microsoft is really big on this whole Minority Report thing. Like they really want to do this Minority Report thing. Like they do the whole like Kinect was supposed to be like the first step into Minority Report. You're swinging stuff around with your hand and like making screens go away. Now they have this AR and VR thing that's very similar to that. So I mean, the one thing caveat I will say about a lot of this stuff is that when depending on how it's marketed, I don't really want to extend a lot of energy to be able to use it. So swiping and moving and all this stuff like that, to have this device that's supposed to make my life easier, just kind of turns some people off, especially from an entertainment thing, because you want to relax. Like it's a relaxed moment, not like a workout moment. So if they can, bridge that gap for me, I think I'd be more interested. Yeah. But I just don't want to be swiping my hand constantly all the time.
Yeah. So we had users vote on what we would talk about. So the thing that I knew coming from the community and what we harvested from Twitter, I knew this would win. It is interesting, right? Because I think people are really curious. What are your thoughts? Or actually, we'll do this first. Chris loaded it up. How do you break into the industry? Can I have advice? And a lot of people, including Ambient Virus, I Am Neptune, MGL Dark Phoenix, have asked similar questions, so we decided to kind of just lump it up into one big category. Mm-hmm. So guys, I mean, what is your advice? I mean, that's a very difficult question. It's very complex, but I think that there are some key things that we can share with these people.
Mm-hmm. I mean, for me, I would say that with the, when I started trying to get in the game industry, 7-8 years ago, there wasn't that much out there as far as like user tools that you can kind of make your own game with. But now, I mean, you have Unreal, you have Unity, you have these things to where that you can make your own game on your own, and that within itself is the biggest thing I would say to getting into the game industry is make a game yourself. Be able to show somebody that a potential employer and say, look, I made this game from an idea to a finished product. I did that, and they're going to respect you a lot more because you know the process, the ups and downs of game development, which there's a lot to be said for that type of experience, even over like academic experience.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think that would be my advice is to actually make games. Like don't say, I want to be a game developer. No, like you can just go home right now and be a game developer. Like it doesn't require a job to do it. Just do that, and then the rest of it will find its way. You'll get into a game studio once you really hone that craft.
Yeah. No, so and I completely agree with that. I think also we see a lot of people going into schools, right? So they're like, I want to be a game developer, and I'm going to spend a lot of money on getting into the school that teaches me that. But then sometimes they don't do anything besides that, so they're only doing their curriculum, right? And we're looking for people that if you're really passionate and really want to make levels, and expect you to have made a lot of levels, right? And there's many games that you can make levels for, right? With mod community, right? Read up, right? Just Google modding, Battlefield modding, all those kind of games, right? And you can figure it out, and you can start getting that experience. And I think often we see that being way more valuable than even the studies, right? So instead of paying $50,000 whatever on that study, right? I think there's a lot of things you can do outside of that, and maybe study could be more of a kind of basic kind of thing. Okay, if you want to learn about mathematics or psychology or whatever, that's kind of a good basis regardless. But learn your game skills by just doing it, right? Make games, right? I think there's even for programming. I just had an interview with a newspaper about it, because they want to teach programming in elementary schools. But it's not programming like you see in the hacker movies, where you have a black screen, a lot of cryptic, weird text, and don't start there, but start with block level programming, right? Game Makers is a tool, right? MIT has this language called Scratch. Make HTML sites. Yeah, that kind of stuff, right? Already, it can get you in that mood, and you can make games, right? Something like Flappy Bird, you can make yourself, right? Just start Googling, start, and I'm not saying you should make Flappy Bird, but just, because there's too many of those, but, you can make those kind of games, right? And I think, just try to emulate it and then, come up with your own twist on it and your new ideas. And I think, there's all these ways how to do that. So,
yeah. You guys should listen to what he has to say, because this guy's been doing it for a long time. And he's definitely got some good points.
Yeah, I started like 25 years ago, so not a bit longer. In my time you didn't have internet, right? So I started programming Rabbit, but the computer was basically a black screen with a blinking cursor, and there was nothing on there. We had to figure everything out, how to turn it into an actual game. But right now in 2015. Right, you have internet. You can find all these resources. You have all these great games that you can. You don't have to make everything, but you just start by let's change the level, right? Just change elements of it and all that. I think it's a great period to
absolutely.
To be in.
I would say with that too, as far as an aspect that you need to really hone is play a lot of games. Play a lot of games. But when I say play a lot of games, I mean hone that. The aspect, whatever part that you want to really be, good at, whether it's, level art or level design or character art or animation or programming or design, whatever it is, when you pick up, Assassin's Creed Unity, or when you pick up, the next Madden that comes out or the next Call of Duty, break the game down into discipline that you want to get into, understand what they're doing. And as you do it over time, you're going to learn, you're going to start to see the tricks and the things that developers do every, on a regular basis. And knowing that stuff is going to help you, get a huge jump on somebody that just is learning academia. Because there's a lot of tricks and things that devs do that, you have to be there, you have to go through the process to really do it. So I think that, everybody that's in the game industry should be an expert in some game genre. Like whether it's, Pong or it's, League of Legends or whatever, like you need to know whatever aspects you want to be into backwards and forwards. You need to be able to say, I understand exactly how CS maps are made, all of them. I'm really deep on that. And if you can say that, then there's somebody out there who's going to go, man, this guy's really talented. I want to hire them because they can do this. So that's what I would do.
Yeah, and You Is Dead 99 asks in the chat, he's like, I want to get a job like Rohan. How does that happen? My job is not just, going on Facebook and Twitter, right? My advice, if you're looking for community management or something along that lines, is to get a background or get an education in production, video production, and all of that, because that's where things are going. And I'll be completely honest with everyone that's watching and you guys. The things are changing in games media and how the press does things, how YouTube does things, and how studios do things. So. We want to make our own content, and the best way to do that is to have somebody who knows how to do all of those things. And a background in production is the best way, in my opinion, to go about that. Stuff like Twitter and Facebook, that stuff's easy, but understanding how all the pieces fit together, and also being able to manage time is really, really important. So that would be my advice. There's tons of great tips. It's not easy. It's a very small industry, and I guess it's another point is like, it is a very tiny industry, but it's a very powerful one. So pick what you want to do and do it well, I guess.
Yeah, no, totally. And I think also, recent news the other day was that, Valve was paying out like $57 million or something of people making little trinkets for the community marketplace, right? In Dota and in Team Fortress and whatever. So, I think already people are making money that way. So, I think by now you can even start making things and already make some money with it, right? And I think that's also a really interesting way how to get into games. And hopefully more games will start doing those kind of things, right? It's also under our interest. I can't commit to that, but it's a cool way to get started as well. Make a silly hat, right, and sell it, right? Hey, it's not hard. I think you can figure it out how to do that. So yeah,
Definitely.
So I jumped ahead a little earlier about the question that everybody voted on in the chat, and resoundingly, it was the one that I thought people were going to choose, and that's what you guys voted on, and what won is what are our thoughts on upcoming new wave arena FPS games? I guess like Toxic, Strafe, all that kind of stuff. And do we check our competitors?
I would say, of course, you check your competitors because they're your competitors. I mean, you're competing against them. It's just, I mean, you watch when you're playing a sport. You don't just, you don't ignore the other team on the field. I mean, just like play by yourself. I mean, you are at the same time supportive of what they're doing, but you're also trying to be different, trying to differentiate yourself in whatever way is gonna make you stand out. For me, it's not an aspect of trying to downplay those guys. I'm happy that they're making similar games. And I think it's only good. I mean everybody wants to play video games. There's no reason that only one studio can do it. I mean I want us to be the best game. I mean I'm striving for that, but it's no diss on them. But I mean that's just competition in itself.
Yeah. No, and we actually do play a lot of games at work as well. So we do like competitive playtests. So every day at around if you don't play our own game. Right, we play like other games, so we played like Smite, and we played arena shooters and that kind of stuff. Unreal Tournament, going back to that, like okay, what was it all about again, right? And I think for us, right, you see all these games and it's great, but I think for us to our kind of vision is that a lot of these games have been made in the past. And we don't particularly want to make the same game that has already been made, right? So we love Unreal Tournament, right? A lot of people have been involved with that, but we're not going to make Unreal Tournament, right? That's another game, right? So we're just taking all that input and all the experience making such games, and we're not making Gears, we're not making Killzone, we're not making Unreal Tournament, right? But we're trying to find our own kind of niche that is going to be unique and really cool, and is going to be our game, right? And that's what we're aiming for. But you need to look at all the other stuff to just figure out, what's out there. And,
and I think one thing that was interesting for me is like it's not ignoring the things that work and like the things that are progressive in the first-person shooter genre. Like aim down sights. Like that's something that's not traditionally found in an arena first-person shooter, but it's definitely a mechanic that makes a lot of sense. So not ignoring the things that work, but also doing new things as well.
Yeah. I mean, you have to embrace everything that's happening out there in the shooter genre in general, because there's a lot of games out there that are doing a lot of interesting and different things. And what you see a lot in the genre is the people that try to every game that tries to duplicate another game, they always fall to the wayside. No anybody just trying to be just like COD. They can't beat COD, so they need to, they're, COD and Battlefield are kind of those two 800-pound gorillas, and if you're trying to fight into that space, you're probably going to get kind of like, underlooked. But in the arena space, I think it's new, and I think it's great that a lot of people are having these ideas because, we're all in here, fresh ground, and we're going to, make something cool.
Yeah, and to strengthen that, we want to spend time developing things that make it different, right? Not the same. So otherwise, you're just playing catch up, right? We're not going to make a game with crazy vehicles and whatever in it because it'll take us years to get there, right? So it's a bad place to compete in, right? And I think that's pretty tricky. I think the final thing I want to say about it is that first-person shooters started out as a very creative genre, right? With a lot of crazy things like the arena shooters and the crazy geometry and the speed and all that. And we feel that over the past 10 years, it kind of have all been going into the same direction, right? Everybody's trying to make the same game, right? And once more, right? That's not being unique, etc. And I think we're kind of using that old school mentality and going back to what made first-person shooters cool in the first place, and can we kind of open up, right? So today we had a discussion about should you be able to crouch? Well, it's one of these kind of tropes that people expect to be able to do now, but is it really adding that much to a game, especially when for instance you move like a lot faster, right? So if for instance in our game we move 2 times faster than in Call of Duty, would you even need crouch, right? So I think you can shake that kind of some of these assumptions, like running and crouching and that kind of stuff, and figure out how to make your game unique without having to kind of completely adhere to all the kind of things that are expected of the other games out there, right?
Yeah, and that's kind of the power of having a new franchise, is that you can pick and choose where you want to actually use those genre tropes, you can make a decision. Whereas if you're making the same game over again, you can't just, if COD just took out ADS, people, it would be, everybody would go crazy. They just, they were taking out ADS, so they'd be like, people would lose it. So, I mean, where we're at, we can make a decision and say, maybe we're going to have this type of feature, maybe not. Like, it just depends on the situation because we have the freedom to prototype and to make a lot of interesting decisions.
Yeah. All right, guys. So the time has come. We got to move on. Is there anything? I know it goes by fast.
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah, I know it's already 5:25.
Wow.
Anything you guys want to say before you head out?
Shout out to Lucian and my wife if she's watching the show right now, and play some games.
Play more games, always. Good plan. Right.
Cool. So we're going to take a look at, we talked about the milestone that we completed, and we're going to take a look at a really quick video that I quickly shot in the moment that I think really captured, what it's like to complete a milestone, and it was a really cool moment. So let's take a look. All right. The milestone is complete. Everyone is drinking some beer, eating pizza, and of course, playing Street Fighter. Wow, dude. All right, Ryan. Milestone's over. What are you gonna do?
I'm taking the rest of the project off. Animation. I got one weapon and that's perfect. I'm done. Done for the project. Arjun doesn't think that's a good idea. He's shaking his head at me over there.
Yeah, he's that same kick thing. You got beat by Cornfield.
Randall's lethal.
Look at that shit on it. That's Randall's new nickname, Cornfield.
I don't want to be Honda.
Cornfield.
Hey, you don't choose your destiny, okay?
No, I can't choose. It's not letting me.
It's mine, dude. It's mine. It's mine.
Oh, Ken, watch
I
out.
locked myself in.
It's the same thing as second song.
I knew it. No, of course.
Oh, it's got the Hadouken.
Whoa, that's screen lag. Holy shit.
Oh,
You're gonna get wasted. You're getting wasted. Get out of the corner.
Milestone is over. UI is good. What are you gonna do?
Drink beer and take a very long nap.
Come on, Dan.
He's gonna play the
Got a break.
He's gonna go play
Pimp slap. Oh no, it's not
Make
Maple
a
Guard.
like the year before.
Oh,
yeah.
that lag. Get him, get him. Do it.
Do it.
Oh,
Do get him up. Skills. Oh yeah, Dan's on the comeback.
uh-oh. This is Evo caliber.
Oh no.
No, it's not Evo.
That's cheese ball.
Oh, look at this!
No. Hey, you're still dying, dude. That's close. Kicked him in the ankle.
Now the milestone's over, Josh. What's it gonna be?
It's gonna be a nap. It's gonna be a really long nap.
Sure.
So it's.
All right, it's a tiebreaker.
Yeah, this is.
Here he goes.
I agree, man.
You guys in the back of the sunglasses?
Oh,
he's chilling.
Oh, no.
Short Oh, come on, Cornfield. Don't get swept on this, man. Oh, come on, weird. Ah! Yeah! Get it!
Wow.
Oh my God.
Jamel, milestone is over. It's good. What are you gonna do?
Work on the next one. It ain't over yet. This is only milestone 5, so we got like 40 more or something like that after this. I don't know. Let's just keep on moving.
Everyone has hats. That's what they're saying.
Yep, the milking will continue. What's up with the shaky head?
This is creepy as hell,
Oh
man.
my god, that's fucking awesome, dude.
Yeah, he's all like, it's coming in and
Oh,
out.
the milking will continue. Yes, indeed.
All right, guys, welcome. So everybody knows Trammell,
Hello, all. What's going on?
and we have a newbie here.
Hey, everybody.
It's Ethan.
Yeah.
Ethan is a brand new concept artist that has just started in, I guess, the past month or so.
Yeah.
January 5th.
Oh my god, it has gone by so fast.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which one to look at. So.
I'm straightening it up. Straightening it
Kind of
up.
looks like Chris Milky's head when you do that.
No, I know.
You
He's
do-
all like, the milking.
All right, so guys, welcome. Thanks for coming on. Stroke the cliff pick.
Stroke the cliff.
Somebody in the chat earlier said that if we photoshopped muscles. It's like, no, we didn't. No,
yeah,
it's a really good picture.
It's just a good angle.
flexing,
It's a good angle because he ain't that yoked. Trust me. He's a little doughy, little doughy.
So we're gonna debut something new, something cool, another environment, which it's actually my favorite when I saw it. I thought it was pretty sweet. And we teased it a little bit. We said it was a historic, real world location,
Indeed.
and we're gonna take a look at the setup right now, and it's called Rushmore Station.
Yes, indeed.
So, can you give us a little background behind the concept, Rushmore Station?
So apparently, in all the calamities of the world going on in our environment, Mount Rushmore was kind of like sold off to make way for a train, and these trains are massive. So it's like a 2-story train. Just imagine like a high-speed train that was like the size of a cruise ship.
Dang.
So you basically, people use rail to kind of travel back and forth with all of their belongings and stuff. So they're moving cross country on these giant trains.
And what I like about this is that this further reinforces the fiction of kind of a post apocalypse. I mean, it's not destroyed. It's not, this is a rebuilt, or I guess this is a new structure that is that looks great. It's well designed. So for me, it's like we're moving out of the apocalypse and into rebuilding and restructuring.
Yeah, I mean, you still got some of the destruction, like Mount Rushmore is like F that thing, don't even fix it, and leave the faces on the ground and all that stuff. But like the station itself, kind of like the tracks go into the mountain right under like George Washington's nose and stuff. So like, but the station is like really built out and finished and
Cool.
brand new, and it's got all the bells and whistles and stuff like that.
So Ethan, from your perspective, we would just, I'd like to get your thoughts as an artist, how something like this, goes, from point A to point Z, or I guess it would be X because it's not done yet. So let's take a look at the first round here that kind of visually shows Rushmore Station.
Yeah.
So at what stage in the art process is this? I assume it's pretty early.
This is definitely very early. So, I mean, when I work, I didn't do this, but when I work, typically get like a sheet from Trammell or Cliff describing the scene or what they're looking for, and then it's all very organic and very back and forth, and it's very rough at the beginning, like this guy, and yeah, it's just a lot of back and forth. I sit next to Trammell, so he kind of sits over my shoulder sometimes and tells me that looks stupid, it looks cool.
Yeah. move that
Let's try
pixel,
this.
move all that kind of stuff.
But so like I can see in the images that this is the whole the Mount Rushmore scene is kind of transplanted. It looks like a real image that was kind of popped in and then some stuff painted over it, right?
It's just basically the kind of a rough out, like to give like what it's going to look like. It's kind of like the first basic, but like on this one in particular, the artist didn't really nail it on the first 2 go rounds. So it was more of kind of like the back and forth. Like if you look at the description says that the train tracks is supposed to go through the actual mountain itself, and I think he kind of missed that on the first couple times around. So, and then of course the train tracks didn't look massive enough, and the train on the tracks didn't look very big, and you don't really have a sense of scale because there are no people in the scene. So it was just kind of like, all right, well, scrap these two and hit it another way and try again.
Cool. So let's look at the next one. I think this is, so here you can really start to see the vision kind of come together. At what stage is this? Is this usually the next stage after what we looked at?
Yeah, this is another failed attempt at trying to get. I mean, but that's what it's all about. Like that's the whole purpose.
Yeah, absolutely.
You kind of like go through these iterations, and then you like, sometimes you hit it first time out, sometimes you don't. Like this one just happened to be like not it at all.
You're gonna have plenty of turds before you have a nice finished piece.
Yeah, exactly. So like even like Ethan starts off with like a bunch of thumbs, and I mean you work it that way, and just kind of like before you even get to this point, aren't you like 5-6 kind of thumbnails in or something like that?
Pretty quick. I mean, it's like this guy's using photos. Like you're allowed to use photos. Like I think some people have that artist mentality where everything has to be pure and like painted. Like this guy's just photo bashing. It's all to like communicate an idea to the art director and get your point across quickly, and then once you get like the okay, then you can kind of push it forward and figure it out from there.
Yeah, so. I mean it's all about production. You don't want to spend a lot of time, trying to noodle on something when you have no idea whether or not it's the legit final thing to do.
Is a noodle? Is that a Jayhawk original term, or is that?
That's what I tell Jay not to do, because he gets in his mindset where he's like, he's doing like little bits and bobs. I'm like, dude, just like push it on, move on to the next one.
You say stop noodling.
Stop noodling and just keep moving.
It's hard though, man.
It's
like
hard,
baby.
man, but you gotta go. This is a production environment. We got games to ship.
Cool. So let's look at the next one. So this is when we really see everything. Oh,
nicely done, Milky.
It's gonna pop in.
There it is.
Okay, so this is pretty much everything kind of coming together. This is a really solid look, if not close to finished concept.
Mm-hmm. This is a reverse angle. So if you like imagine, we have another shot after this one that's actually looking back at Mount Rushmore. But this is more of a kind of like a closer up view of the station itself. So you have a good idea of what the station looks like. But yeah, this is like after he kind of like went back and thought about it, and we did like a couple conversations on Skype or whatnot. This is what he came back with, and I think he kind of nailed it on this one.
Yeah, and so the other image that we have, and I think the issue is that it'll load in a second. It's just really high quality. So let's just stare at this blank image for a moment.
Beautiful.
And we'll see if it loads. If not,
dude, what'd you do?
Yeah, it's too high quality.
No, man.
It's too good.
Anyway.
All right,
that's just done.
Well, let's just go back to the other one.
Let's just go back.
I'll upload that to Reddit afterwards, so you guys can see it there and all of that. For me, this is a really cool snapshot of what the actual gameplay could be. Like I could see, this really translating into a multiplayer map, more or less, and
possibly.
Yeah, I mean, would you guys say that that's the mission when trying to execute this stuff? Is it just make something cool, or is it make something that's functional?
It's a little bit of both at this stage, because it's way too early to kind of like, you can't really figure out gameplay from just an image, but this is good to inform like design to what types of things that they could have in a space.
Yeah.
So they could, when they're done with it, the station may not even have that same shape, but it can have like the same feel, the look and feel of it. They could take parts and pieces of it and make the station either wider or, have like different levels and stuff like that, or make the trains like multiple trains. They could do a lot of things with this idea, but this is just kind of like a kicking off point.
Yeah, well, I mean, it looks freaking awesome, and that is a huge train.
Yeah, it's massive.
And this
loading up cars and stuff.
And this really does hone in on the post-apocalypse, kind of theme, right? Because I mean, I see like holographic kind of display, advertisements, all that stuff, and it's very colorful too. It's not.
Yeah, it's
dark.
not drab or dark or anything like that.
The airplane exits, kind of like.
Yeah, you gotta load. You gotta load up the giant train somehow. You can't just be walking up on it. It's a massive thing.
Cool. So we're gonna take a couple questions from you guys, and again, we do have another image
see if it'll work again. Milky.
Yeah, let's
give
just
it like 5 seconds.
Well,
Come
let's
on.
just see.
Do it,
Chris.
Do it.
Totally.
Do it.
Should be a smaller file
Do it.
format. Totally my bad.
Do it.
So we'll leave this up here for a moment. We'll see if it loads.
I don't think it's gonna load.
Ah!
Because they really don't need to see us. I mean, you can pop us up a little square in the corner.
No,
There,
you
Milky.
can't.
Why not? What's the deal? Come on now.
Here, let's just go back to us here.
We was able to do that in my old job. What's the deal?
Well,
You supposed-
I would need to go over there, and I need to do it, and you know.
We supposed to be able to have like a little
We can do it.
little window picture going on. See, yeah, now it's just black screen.
Well, it's black screen right now.
You can't.
Right
You're supposed
now.
to talk through the dead air. Anybody got any questions for us?
That's what I'm waiting for some
I
questions.
guess nothing. Nobody wants questions answered.
Is there Sanctifrax asks, is there a collection of art for Blue Streak yet? I would say yes.
Yes,
I mean,
there's
there's
lots of.
huge,
We wouldn't be able to make a game
Yeah.
if it wasn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all just like we just say model this thing and people model it. They know exactly. No, you have to have that. You got to have concepts for pretty much everything that you make. Environments, sky domes, weapons, characters, bits and bobs, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, Jay, when I interviewed here, Jay kind of brought me over his computer and showed me the massive document that had all their work on like one file, and it's pretty cool. Just like kind of blew my mind. Just like so much work on one Photoshop file.
Yeah. It's all about the iterations, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we're very fortunate to have enough time to kind of bring a lot of these concepts to like full look and feel that we were looking for, like that fits design, fits what we're trying to do visually, and it fits the lore. We can actually build some of that based on some of the art.
So Mozzie Designer actually has a really good question. He says, so when making these concepts, do you talk to the level designers who may be gray boxing or lay out the ideas, or do the art guys just bring the ideas to the LDs and they turn it into a map?
For us, as far as like the levels, like for that particular image, like all the information is given to us by design. So like there's two phases of it. There's just the kind of like, what's the idea of the space? So design comes up with the idea, and then they give us a list of kind of parameters. Okay, so it's a room and it's got 5 lights in it, or it's got fluorescent lights and a shag carpet and an old man sitting at a computer. Okay, so then we do a room that kind of like fits that bill, and then they'll actually build a space based on kind of like some of the pieces or parts from that. And then from that space, we'll take, they'll have like either make a white box or they'll build it with pieces that we've already made. And then they'll put it together in the level, and we'll play it and play test it and so on and so forth. Once it gets to a certain level,